Hey guys, Quackers Clocks here with another set of NFL predictions. This time it's week 3. So, anyways, let's get to the games. Anyways, the New England Patriots take on the New York Jets. I am going to go with the Jets here. I think Aaron Rodgers looked good against Tennessee, and I'm not really sure about New England's offense. I mean, they're definitely better than they were last year because, new head coach. I assume new offensive coordinator. But this is going to be a pretty good game. But I think the Jets are going to pull out with this win. And as for the Pats, they will be 1-2, and the Jets will be 2-1. I mean, it's still early, but 3 games in and starting 2-1 is actually pretty decent. Next, we have the New York Giants taking on the Cleveland Browns. I am going to go with the Browns here. The Giants are just abysmal this year. They're probably a shoo-in for the number 1 overall pick. And as for the Browns, they really aren't that good either. I mean, they escaped a win against Jacksonville last week. And as for the Giants, they are still 0-2. They lost to a team that didn't even score a single touchdown. All they scored were field goals. Yeah. But I am going with the Cleveland Browns. They'll be 2-1, and the Giants will be 0-3. That's unfortunate. I thought they would be good this year. I'm joking. I knew they were going to be terrible. The Philadelphia Eagles take on the New Orleans Saints. I am actually going with the Saints on this one. The Eagles, how do I say this? They pulled an Atlanta Falcons against the Atlanta Falcons. So, it's not really that good. It's not good. And as for the Saints, they've been dominant the past 2 weeks against the Panthers, and then against the, who did they play last week? I don't even know, but they put on an offensive juggernaut last week. And I think the Saints are actually pretty good. So the Saints are going to go 3-0. And they played the Dallas Cowboys last week. They put on an offensive juggernaut against them, and they're going to do the same thing against Philadelphia. I think the Saints will be 3-0, and the Eagles, they will be 1-2. The Houston Texans taking on the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to go with the Texans here. The Vikings are 2-0. The Texans are 2-0. One of these teams has to lose. But C.J. Stroud has a better offense, and the Vikings actually looked really good against San Francisco. I mean, them not having Christian McCaffrey definitely raised the bar on that. But if they had Christian McCaffrey, they probably would have had a better chance at winning. But as for the Texans, I think they end up winning this game by a close margin. And as for the Vikings, it's a tough loss, but I think they'll bounce back. So the Vikings will be 2-1, and the Texans 3-0 in this contest. Next, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Bucs. The Bucs are pretty solid. They beat the Detroit Lions last week. And as for the Broncos, they have no offense. That's literally everything about the Broncos that I hate, is that they have zero offense. Bo Nix looks like a rookie out there. And to add insult to injury, they're going to lose to Baker Mayfield. The same guy that Cleveland fans thought was trash turned out to be actually really good. And the Bucks will be 3-0. The Broncos will be 0-3. I think the Broncos, Panthers, and Giants will have top 3 picks in the draft. At this rate, absolutely. But I am going with the Bucks over the Broncos here. The Green Bay Packers take on the Tennessee Titans. I am going to go with the Packers here. The Titans aren't good. That's all I can say. Will Levis looks like trash. He is not an NFL competent quarterback. Okay, he had flashes last year, and he was a rookie. But he's not a rookie anymore. And he's out there looking like Jamarcus Russell. He had that stupid backwards lateral last week against the, what was it? Not the Bears. I don't think it was the Bears, but I think it was last week. But, and they ended up losing. They're 0-2. And I think Jordan Love might start again. But if it's not, Malik Willis is going to tear them apart. That's basically what's going to happen. I'm picking the Packers. They're going to be 2-1. And as for the Tennessee Titans, they're going to be 0-3. They're garbage. They're not good. The Titans are not good. The Chicago Bears take on the Indianapolis Colts. I'm actually going to go with Indy on this one. No disrespect to the Chicago Bears. I think Caleb Williams plays decent for rookie standards. But I think the Colts could pull out this win off. But unfortunately, they did have to play the Packers last week, and they lost. They're currently 0-2. So, this might be their first win of the year. It's in Indianapolis. I think Richardson can play well enough to where he can beat the Chicago Bears. Their defense is okay. I think Richardson will play well. And I think the Colts will win. The Colts will be 1-2. The Bears will also be 1-2. The Los Angeles Chargers take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. As much as I like the as much as I'm biased toward the LA Chargers, I think the Steelers have played pretty decent football, but unfortunately for Pittsburgh, they had to play 2 pretty crappy franchises. They had to play the Atlanta Falcons, and they had to play the Denver Broncos. Now their true test is against the LA Chargers. But I think since it's at home, I think they're going to pull out with the win. So the Steelers will be 3-0, and the Chargers will be 2-1. I don't think the Chargers go undefeated. I think Harbaugh is a good coach. I think he's going to stay there for a while. But we'll see. We'll have to see. And I so can't wait for Chargers-Ravens coming up. That's going to come up very, very soon. It's going to be the Harbaugh Bowl. Anyways, but I am going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They will be 3-0. And the LA Chargers, they will be 2-1. The Miami Dolphins take on the Seattle Seahawks. I am actually going with the Seahawks here. The Dolphins are going to miss Tua Tagovailoa for a really long time because he got concussed last week against Buffalo. Again. And who gave him the concussion? None other than Bills safety Damar Hamlin. It just comes full circle, doesn't it? DeMar Hamlin has that scary injury, has that scary heart attack. And then 2 years later, he gives Tua Tagovailoa a concussion. It just doesn't end. It just goes full circle. But as for the Seahawks, I think Geno Smith is I think they will be just fine. They played well against New England. And yeah, I know New England gave them fits, but I think, them pulling up with the win in the end just really solidified it. But as for I'm going with the Seahawks. I think they're 2-0, so I think they are 2-0. So the Seahawks will be 3-0, and the Dolphins will be 1-2. Not a good start to their season, but, Tua is out. But I think the Dolphins have offensive weapons, but I think they need a competent quarterback. That isn't Skylar Thompson. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are probably more likely to win anyways. The Carolina Panthers. The 0-2 Carolina Panthers, who have scored 13 points in 2 games. 13. Take on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going with the Raiders. That is an easy pick. The Panthers are garbage. Bryce Young looks like garbage. Their offensive line is also garbage. They didn't fix it. It's the same old Panthers. They're literally just the same team from last year. They haven't made any splashes in free agency. Nobody wants to play with them. Well, maybe Deontay Johnson. That's probably the only thing they did. But that was just a trade. I don't think they signed anybody. It's the same old Panthers. It's the same Panthers team from last year. It's still garbage. And as for Las Vegas, yeah, this is going to be an easy win for them. I think the Raiders are going to shut them out, and I think the Panthers are just going to lay down and die. They benched Bryce Young. They're going to start the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, and he's not going to do well. So I think the Raiders are going to win this game. They will be 2-1. I think they're 2-1. Because they lost to the LA Chargers and beat the Ravens. So that puts them at 2-1. And as for the Panthers, you deserve to be 0-3. You guys are terrible. You're probably the worst team in the league. The San Francisco 49ers take on the LA Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams. Actually, I can see who I made these picks a long time ago, so I could probably see who I actually picked. I forget who I picked, so I'm going to consult with my trusty old pigskin pick'em on ESPN Fantasy. That they are not a sponsor, but these are supposed to translate to the. Let's see who I picked for 49ers Rams. I don't remember. That's why I have to go to. Okay, so for 49ers Rams, I picked San Francisco. So I'm going to pick San Francisco here. The Rams, they aren't good. And I don't think I know the 49ers are missing a lot of pieces. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. I'm not sure if Ayuk is injured. But, yeah, I think the 49ers are going to win this. I had to consult with the Pigskin Pick'em because, they have to translate to what I have here. Because I didn't remember exactly who I picked. So, Anyways, I am picking the 49ers. They will be 2-1. And as for the Rams, they'll be 0-3. The Rams, they're not really that good. Unless their injuries are piling up too. So, The Detroit Lions take on the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I know the Cardinals had a really good game last week against the LA Rams. And, but the Lions are going to bounce back from a very devastating loss to Tampa Bay. And I think, they'll be 2-1. And as for the Arizona Cardinals, they will be 1-2. I think the Lions will bounce back. I think the Lions bounce back from that loss. So the Lions will be 2-1, and as for the Cardinals, they'll be 1-2. Anyways, the Baltimore Ravens take on the Dallas Cowboys. I am going with the Ravens here. They're going to get their first win of the year. They've had a skittish start to the year, and I think, since they're 0-2, I don't think the Cowboys beat them. Mainly because they got walloped by the Saints. And I think they're going to get walloped here. And as for the Ravens, I think this will be their first win of the year. They should have won against the Raiders, but they were too cocky. And, it's just, that's the reason I went 8-8 last week. And I'm currently 22-10. So, but as for the Ravens, I'm going to make their pick. I'm going to give them their first win of the year. As for the Cowboys, they will have the same record as the Ravens. They will both be 1-2. Sunday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Atlanta Falcons. I am actually going with the Chiefs here. They escaped their win against Cincinnati. And as for Atlanta, they had a pretty good game against Philly. That's because Philly became the Atlanta Falcons and decided to choke. But the Chiefs, I am rooting for my Kansas City Chiefs here. They're probably the most likely to win. And I don't need the Pigskin Pick'em anymore, so I remember who I picked for the last three games. So I'm picking the Chiefs. They will be 3-0. The Falcons will be 1-2. It'll be an easy win for the Chiefs. Monday Night Football doubleheader. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. I am going with the Buffalo Bills here. They've had a pretty solid few weeks. I think they're 2-0. They had a pretty solid game against the Miami Dolphins, and I think they're going to do the same thing against the Jacksonville Jaguars here. The Bills will be 3-0. And the Jags will be 0-3. They're really not going to be that good. They have a tough schedule to start the year. And it's just tough. I mean, you can't just... You're going to have to get over this 0-3 start. So... But the Bills will be unbeaten. They'll be 3-0. And as for the Jags, they will be winless, 0-3. And last but not least, we have the Washington Commanders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I am going with the Bengals here. They have They have home field advantage, and I think Joe Burrow will perform very well against this Commanders defense. They're currently 1-1. And as for the Bengals, they will get their first win of the year. They'll be 1-2. And as for the Commanders, they will also be 1-2. I think, that'll be it. I think the Bengals will beat the Commanders on Monday night. So that is it for Week 3 of the 2024 NFL season. We'll see you guys next week when we cover Week 4.